Alright, MrSotko here, and welcome back to another Company Heroes 2 replay cast. Today it's a 1 vs 1 on Arnhem checkpoint between our blue Russian player, Bethlemos, and down at the bottom we have our red Wehrmacht player, Havoc12, and it is Arnhem checkpoint. So we have our victory points going straight across the map in the center, on the right, center, and the left side, and of course we have a munitions point on the left, and a fuel point on the left, fuel point, and a munitions point. And tons of buildings on the inside, and so tons of opportunities for MGs, and a really good opportunity is you just pretty much rush the church here if you're on the top of the map and you have engineers or rear echelon troops, and you try and get in this church as soon as possible, because against a Wehrmacht player they have to build the barracks first, so they take an extra moment or two to build this barracks, and then they'll usually get this, or they will get this first, and by then you can actually make it into the church first and give them a real hard time for a couple minutes. Usually you can last in there before you are forced out of there, and you can make it last even longer if you just continuously pour conscripts and such into that church. We have the Wehrmacht going to get to the right side, a fuel point right off the bat, and a couple of those territory points, and the Russian player has done the same with the fuel point on the left side there. MG42 set up in the center here, capturing this territory point, and can these conscripts make it inside the church before they are pinned? And they can do that. They magic warp inside there, and will now hold out for a little while, but they already got suppressed. It slows them down a little bit there. And now down to just 4 men. And again, you can't hold here for a couple minutes. The Wehrmacht has the advantage right now. They had that MG already set up, and these grenadiers. And so they came in there, suppressed, lost some health and men. But normally you can just continuously pile units in there, and you last a little longer than that. But RNG does come into play from time to time. Or rather, every time. And engineers nearly captured that territory point. I think they could have stood there for just a moment longer and captured that, but decided to get inside the building here first. And now the MG going to be turning around and firing on the engineers inside this building here. And just another tip on this map: if you stand here, right here on this point of the map, there are no windows on this side of the house, so you can actually just stand there safely and fire into that house and not get hit by anything, unless something is, of course, over here and fires this way. But otherwise, the troops inside this house cannot fire at you if you stand right about here, or even use these vehicles here for cover as well. And so far, the Russians have captured 1 victory point, taking down the Wehrmacht score by a whole 8 points. And the Grenadiers will be taking the center victory point. Meanwhile, Grenadiers taking the cutoff point here for the Russians, taking that cuts off anything on this side that you capture. So you definitely want to capture that over and over and over. Same thing with this one for your bottom side opponent. As you can see, it cuts off anything that's on this side of the map there. 2 very good spots on the map to capture. And meanwhile, the Russians capturing the right side victory point almost. One of these conscripts is not quite in the area there. Meanwhile, they're just making sandbags and need to move over just a scotch to capture that right side victory point. And Grenadiers are going to be trying to take this left side fuel point there. And at the same time, conscripts capturing the right side fuel point. And the point has been captured here by the Wehrmacht, and it's going to cut the Russians off just a little bit. The cutoff point is captured as well, so they're not getting anything from that. So he only has 11 and 7 right now, respectively, in terms of his income, so that is not much at all. He's in the bushes right now, so does have light cover against these Grenadiers. Grenadiers are those superior troops. So sort of even Stevens right now. Bit of a camera issue there. Conscripts hanging out here and getting suppressed by the MG inside that church. And MG perpetually inside that church leads to many annoyances throughout the game, and will be. And it looks like a mortar is out on the map here, and you're gonna be firing at the Grenadiers and see if a direct landing is possible. And no, lands next to them, doesn't really do any damage. And engineers taking the left side victory point there. Meanwhile, now there is a sniper out for the Wehrmacht And conscripts running up to that sniper, using Ura to try and take it out, but the venerable austere sniper is like a mobile tank and so hard to kill them. And right now the Wehrmacht strategy, one of the only Wehrmacht strategies really, one of a few perhaps if you want to say, is to get snipers, particularly against the British forces with the whole AEC deal. But really, as the Wehrmacht, you really need to get 1 or 2 snipers. 2 is sort of ideal people run around with, and they're so hard to kill, particularly if you used a mixed arms and you have some packs in the back. So when you go to try and chase them down with an M20 or a scout car or whatever, what have you, T-70, you end up getting blasted by a Pack 40 and you have to back off anyway. And then whenever you bring up your troops, you end up losing 2 of them at a time in the squad because you have 2 snipers. And basically at that point you are so weak that you can't really fight too well and you end up having to retreat anyway. So it's sort of a vicious cycle, if you will, with the Wehrmacht snipers. And I really wouldn't be surprised if they get nerfed or if the Wehrmacht gets buffed in such a way that they don't really need to rely on the snipers. Not really sure either way. I don't suppose that is really up to me to decide, but if you've had to deal with Wehrmacht snipers lately, people like to say austere. I like to say Wehrmacht. It is the Wehrmacht, but if you've had to deal with them lately, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. They are pretty much nail-bitingly annoying. Especially in the hands of a good player who does not lose their snipers. Conscripts have garrisoned themselves inside that house over there. Also taking the left side victory point here. We'll hold 2 victory points, 472 to 481. A very even game at the moment. Sniper firing away into the house here. Already took out 2 men out of that squad. And MG was barely firing at those troops. Looked like that 1 man was in the way there. Now going to get inside the building, but takes a sniper shot on the way. Now down to 4 men. And the mortar there blasting away, raining down. And I'm assuming this mortar will be firing at the church here soon, which would be the wise bet. Looks like he has to get a little bit closer to do that. Even more TM-35 mines down. Multiple TM-35 mines down in the same area here. And I'm not sure if I agree with that or not. 2 mines down so close to each other. I suppose it would get the job done, particularly if a unit walks over this one and then walks over the next one, but we will have to see. It looks like the scout car is close to those TM mines, but just barely misses it. Has no reason to really go up that way, except to attack that mortar there. Could be the bait. The mortar is the bait, and essentially could draw that scout car up there sooner or later. Engineers get inside the building there for safety. 1 man left on this MG. The mortar firing away, and nothing done about it yet. And the ZIS slams that 222 and takes it out and fails to take that territory point. Should have just stayed there just a moment longer. And now engineers coming around the side here. Pioneers with that flamethrower are going to come around and either try and shoo out these engineers here or burn up this mortar squad, one of the 2. And instead they just simply walk past the engineers and don't do all that much. Meanwhile, Grenadiers are taking the right side victory point.
Grenadiers reporting. They are burning us.
And engineers down to 1 man there from that conscript squad. Those guys didn't do much of anything. I'm not really sure what that was all about. Maybe he thought that there was troops here or something that he could burn out of there. And Maxim now moving over here. Perhaps going to put it inside this building here to help defend the left side victory point. That would be wise. And now Panzer Grenadiers out in the field here for the Wehrmacht. And moving forward, moving after the territory point here. And conscripts in negative cover. Going to seek good cover behind that truck there. But Panzer Grenadiers on the other side. Grenadiers on the other, between a rock and a hard place. Grenadiers only down to 2 men. Could be using these sandbags against his opponent, but deciding not to do that.
Our opponents are seizing a sector.
And Osttroppen now moving out. The Ostrupen call in from the mobile defense doctrine, one of them with that LMG 42. And Ostrupen used to have the, of course, the random veterancy levels, but no longer. Now it's just simply a random LMG or not. And looks like a second mortar out in the field here. So 2 mortars near each other in the back there to prevent any MGs from setting up. And down to 1 man in the squad here, and needs to get him out of there as soon as possible. And may not survive this. Down to 1 man. And loses that man to the sniper. Looks like the Ostrupen would not have gotten that man if the sniper wasn't there, as they were suppressed and their attack speed was quite low. Now the Maxim going over to the right side here and could hold this fairly well. Could put that Maxim behind the sandbags there and just leave it without actually facing a direction. And then as soon as the troops actually come up, it could auto turn. And there he is, setting that up now and setting it up. And of course that is the faster way to do it and more responsive way. But I typically, if a Maxim can set up very, very quickly, so you can actually just have your Maxim not face any particular direction sometimes. And as soon as some Grenadiers come up through this way, they would automatically turn, but they will not automatically turn once they are already set up in a particular direction. Conscripts were making some sandbags there, get interrupted by the LMG Grenadiers. Another LMG Grenadier just got his LMG. All the conscripts for Bethlemos do have PPSH submachine guns. Terrible at this distance, but very, very nice close range. Another Maxim has been set up here, and again, once again, not behind the sandbags. Very interesting. Should be behind those sandbags. Would definitely increase the longevity of this Maxim here. Panzer Grenadiers versus conscripts here with the PPSH, and the Panzer Grenadiers so far losing as they are just sort of moving around. And there they go, now running on home. And conscripts getting all burned up, and they got to get out of there.
The enemy is attempting to steal our
Meanwhile,
sector.
the left side conscripts taking that left side territory point and using URA to get closer to these Grenadiers and gonna chase them now. And it looks like a TM-35 mine was hit by those Grenadiers there, or was stepped on rather, and blew up 2 men out of that squad. Nearly wiped the whole squad. Really nice direct hit there on that Ostrupen squad, down to 2 men and a sliver of health. And if they take another decent hit like that, we'll wipe the whole squad. And I was mistaken on there. Should have wiped the whole squad. That was very, very close. I figured it would, but they are down to the tiniest sliver of health. And he will actually make it out of there, but gonna cost him a decent amount of manpower to actually replace all of those Ostrupen. And now conscript's gonna try and take this territory point here, but again, the MG42 inside the church. Many, many annoyings throughout the games with an MG in the church there. And I think I just made that word up, annoyings. I just wanted to make that up for just, that is the word unique to an MG in the church on Arnhem checkpoint. Many annoyings, multiple, pluralized annoyings. So hard to get out. And the church, of course, is incredibly durable, so destroying the building is easier said than done. Sometimes I feel that you're better off if you have the opportunity just to really burn this building to the ground with whatever you have, any kind of napalm, flamethrowers. Just bring up an engineer and flame it until it sets on fire if you get the opportunity to do so. But it takes... they actually reduced the amount of fire damage to buildings, I think, in a couple of patches ago. So now it actually takes a little longer to set a building on fire than it used to.
are losing a sector. Our opponents are seizing a sector.
And these mortars should be firing at the church here. It looks like one is firing at the church, but both of them could be in on that fun and really double hitting the MG out of there. Ostrupen going to come around the fence here. And the mortar picks up and runs away in time. But the Ostrupen still here. Now going to go after the ZIS. And they're going to back that up out of there. And what is around to stop these Ostrupen? Looks like we have a T-34-76 on the way for Bethlemos. And now out on the field there. However, we do have an Ostwind on the field for the Wehrmacht, and now crushing these conscripts here, and may wipe the whole squad if he does not retreat these conscripts out of here. He does start to retreat them, but it may be too late. Ostwind's going to be firing away at them, and is he going to make it out? He does make it out. However, there's Maxim now going to have to run away. And here comes the T-34 now to defend the Yale Maxim, and strikes that Ostwind once, and can it do it again? And is he going to chase or not? It does not look like he's going to be doing that. It was quite a late chase. Ostwind already kind of out of there. And these two mines are still set up here, but again, in a fairly arbitrary place. But I suppose that's the best place to put mines sometimes, is arbitrary places where you would not expect a mine to be. Fuel point has been taken out there from the Russians. No more fuel point for them. And a very strange place to put a fuel point. I figure the best place to put one is right about there. That's the safest place to at least start with your fuel points. If you want to get more, then I suppose that would be the second best place to put it. T-34 in a little trouble now. We have Panzer Grenadiers and T-34 doing a jig. And what is this T-34 doing? And he will almost certainly lose this T-34 now. These Panzer Grenadiers will take it out. And does not finish off that Ostwind. Should have backed out this way. ZIS has been brought forward here, but it was brought right into the face of these flamethrowers. And if these Pioneers are persistent enough, could actually probably decrew this, but now that the conscripts are here, that will not happen. And they should be able to defend that ZIS, and they certainly do. Lots of conscripts coming, and the Maxim Pioneers now running for their lives from an entire group of Russians there. Meanwhile, the Engineers have captured that right side cutoff point for the Germans, although they don't end anything on the other side of it, so it's not really cutting anything off, but it is a cutoff point nonetheless. MG42 still in that church, and I'd like to see both of those mortars brought up to the edge of the line here, and really just start hammering on that church. And if possible, destroy the church, just really burn it to the ground, or blow it up entirely. Because the majority of the time it gets used against you more than you can really use it against your opponent, so you might as well just get rid of it if you're on the top side of the map, that is. Another T-34-76 out on the field, and hopefully it can get used a little bit better this time around. And this mortar squad a little bit too close to that mine. If another mortar hit this area here, or some kind of shell, bomb, tank, what have you, it would blow up and possibly do big damage to that mortar squad there. We definitely don't want to be too close to your own mines. Mortar has been brought over to the right side to help deal with some random troops, but again, not really agreeing with that. I think you should really just hammer this church until it is completely collapsed, so it can't be used against him. Then he can easily take this victory point, because there wouldn't be many places left for an MG. You can put an MG in some of these houses here, but they're just not quite as good as that church there. T-34 backing up there, gets hit by a Panzerfaust on the way out, but not too big of a deal there. Conscript's now moving forward and running right into the face of these LMGs, and not a good idea. And he's going to lose way more men that he's going to take out. And now the mortar in a little bit of trouble as well. I'm going to pick that up and run on home. Should be just fine, though. So far, 431 for the Russians. 356 for the Wehrmacht. And this Ostwind still engine damage. I don't know if it's been repaired or just got engine damaged again. But that Ostwind is not having much luck with that engine.
The squad of pioneers has arrived.
Bundle grenade lands right in the middle of those conscripts, but he retreats them just in time to prevent the majority of the damage to them. Mortar firing away, and where's this mortar hitting? Oh, that close. That's a very unbelievable angle, as they were only about 20 feet away. I don't even know what an angle you would need for that. Like if you were this close with a mortar to hit about 20 feet in front of you, without like an 89.8 degree angle. I don't even. I got nothing. Although I don't think I was ever that great at geometry, to be totally honest. But that is a very, very close angle. Of course, depending on wind direction and all that stuff. Now that I start thinking about it, now I'm really thinking about it. Wind direction, and there would be a lot of variables in that. And IL-2 flies through there, and the MG in the building here are going to get peppered up by the T-34. Could actually just bring this T-34 up and just face it right in front of that building there, so it could use its front-facing machine guns as well. And he's backing it up, and I'm not really sure why he's backing it up. He could be taking out that MG there and doing a lot of damage to it, although T-34 isn't particularly effective at troops inside of buildings. It's certainly immune to that MG anyway. Of course, the MG could use incendiary rounds if it gets a rank 1 veterancy, but it is not a rank 1 veteran. And even incendiary rounds really wouldn't take out the frontal armor of a T-34. And now the Ostwind right in the face of this Maxim here, and this is what that T-34 should be doing, really. And you can see the ammo actually going in there. That's actually pretty nice. And engineers will be lost here to these Osttruppen and explode into a fiery ball there. T-34 heavily damaged, and no engineers out in the field here to help that T-34. Guard rifles against this 3-star Osttruppen, and the guards lose, and lose it to guards too, so these Osttruppen are just really doing work. And now there is an S minefield in the center here. And is that multiple S mine? No, it is just one, but it looks like a lot of mines there for one minefield. It's a pretty hardy minefield. And so this Osttruppen did take out 2 whole squads. Took out a whole squad of the engineers with the flamethrowers. Then it took out the guard rifle. And could have decrewed that ZIS as well, but they were down to 1 man. So he pretty much had to get out of there. And MG inside this building just now getting out and running on home. And I could have probably taken care of that MG a little while ago. And eating up some of those mines there, and could take his T-34s and just sort of mow the lawn, if you will, with your tanks. That's what I usually do sometimes. If you don't have an engineer with a mine detector on the field, or you just simply can't do that because maybe there's an MG or something here, just drive right through it and blow up all of those mines with your T-34 or some other tank, and problem solved. Just mow the lawn. Panzer IV now in the field for the Germans. There's still an Ostwind as well. It is a 1-star Ostwind. And the T-34 is right on the other side of that Panzer IV there. Now the T-34's got to watch out for these Grenadiers, though. They're going to try and Panzerfaust it, and if they hit the frontal armor, they may not damage its armor, though. We'll have to see. No, it does not damage its armor. I did not think that was going to be the case. And MG42 stolen by the Russians there is inside that building. And he's in a little bit of trouble. That Ostwind just firing right in. And meanwhile, on the right side here, Maxim taking that right side victory point for the Germans, or for the Russians, rather. It's silly. Ostwind now being struck there by the T-34. The other T-34 could come around and probably finish that off. But that Panzer IV is in the way of the other one, I do believe. Is halfway between both of them. T-34 trying to go and did a moonwalk there. I hate it when your tanks do the moonwalk. And improved pathing. I always, I sort of chuckled at that when I seen that relic improving the pathing of the tanks, and because it was just basically like, oh, we allowed them to back up more without turning around on you, which maybe should have been the way it was in the first place. So I think that's just really fixed and not improved pathing. I don't know. But then you see tanks doing the moonwalk and just magically going backwards, and then sometimes when you go to back up your tanks, it does sort of a jig and just sort of does whatever it wants for a moment. So I really had to giggle at the improved pathing. Although how you actually fix it, I have no idea. I'm not really a programmer, but it is what it is. T-34 and the Panzer IV going at it here. Pretty much equals in terms of being tanks. And T-34 got the advantage of this Panzer IV this time around, and half health on that Panzer IV. And there is a free Panzerschreck on the ground, and these conscripts should definitely pick that up, but there's an MG here that's going to give them a hard time doing so. And they're going to grab that. Are they going to be able to get it? They do get it. And we'll put that to good use for sure. And I'm very surprised that these two T-34s are not going after these tanks. They're so low, and he can pretty much just dive them, as his opponent has no packs at all on the map. And so right now he really needs to dive that Panzer IV and Ostwind, although I guess he's playing it safe right now, which is a good thing. Playing it safe is always a good thing, but he will have another T-34 out in the field now. So we'll have a third one, and the mortars just blasted down on that church, and I give a thumbs up to that. I think they should have destroyed that church by now. I really hate that church on this map. As you can see, I'm very biased against this church. When you're on the bottom of the map, that church is really great, but when you're on the top, that church is just pure annoying for you. Sometimes, of course, you can take the church and use it against your opponent, which is really great. But again, as I said before, the majority of the time, that church is simply going to get used against you, and we now have a Grenadier squad with dual LMG-42s. He had to lose a squad, though, to actually get that, so not really sure if he made up for that or not. Two Osttrooping on the right side of the map, getting behind that MG-42. Two engine-damaged T-34s. And I kind of felt like the Count on Sesame Street for a moment there. Two T-34s. Three T-34s. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, come on, you guys. Wait, you guys weren't kids or something? Come on, get real. Count from Sesame Street. Come on. Now the MG-42 is going to face right at these Osttrooping. These Osttrooping are definitely going to have to move home, and there they go, both of them. Run on out of there. T-34 going after the Ostwind now. One more shot, and that Ostwind. Oh, and he misses a very critical miss. There's that RNG for you. And they're going to have to back up that T-34. Now he's got three T-34s to fix. So that's going to be a while.
300 points remaining.
Fortunately, none of them are very damaged. Only this one, I'd say, is the most damaged. And now a 4th T-34 on the way for Bethlemos.
Taking our territory.
Center not quite taken there by the Russians. There were 2 mines right there. Luckily, he had that mine detector. Otherwise, he would have definitely lost that squad. He ran right over those mines.
Panzer IV is ready for battle. The enemy is attempting to
2nd
steal
Panzer
our
IV now on the
sector.
map for the Wehrmacht. So now trying to catch up to those 3 T-34s that are on the map. And I would say that 2 Panzer IVs could probably take out 2 T-34s, but this is a Panzer IV command tank. I was actually mistaken for a moment there. It is technically a Panzer IV, but it is a Panzer IV command tank, which of course does not have the penetration or the damage of a regular Panzer IV, but it also does pretty good damage to troops. It actually has a little bit more HE power than the other tanks. With that short stubby barrel, it sort of fires HE material. So it does not penetrate nearly as well, but of course provides that buff, that damage-reducing Panzer IV command tank buff. And now the T-34 is after the command tank, and other T-34 must respond to this. But it's just going to hang out there for a little while. And here come the T-34s coming around the corner, and command tank cannot penetrate the frontal armor of the T-34, at least not all the time. And that command tank really needs to bail out of there, and he needs more than just command tanks right now. And he is floating quite a bit of resources. He's floating 900 manpower, and he could get out 2 Pak-40s right now. Two or three Pak-40s would actually be really helpful, because there are 4 T-34s on the map now, and so 2 Pak-40s minimum, I would say, would probably be a requirement right now to help take out these T-34s. One on the left side, one in the middle, or one on either side, whatever you choose. But these T-34s gotta go for this Wehrmacht if he wants to stay in the game. And so far he has not taken out any of these T-34s, and that's going to be a big problem, as he is just really starting to stack them up. He has 88 out of 100. I don't think he can get another T-34. Not currently with his current setup. They are 10, so he could technically get out another one, but then he really couldn't reinforce anything. Struppen do have Panzerfaust, could actually dual Panzerfaust this T-34. He has more than enough munitions to do that. He would damage its engine. Damages its engine, now needs to run out of there as soon as possible, and loses an Struppen though. And needed to get on that a little bit faster. And could have possibly survived that if he would have Panzerfausted a little bit faster and then retreated a little bit faster, but lost an Struppen and damaged its engine, so it will be out of the battle for a short period. Now the Ostwind in a little bit of trouble here. And Ostwind no match there for the T-34. Can do some damage to that T-34, but that's about it. And here comes some Grenadiers now, and could help Panzerfaust that T-34 damage its engine. If they damage this engine, all 4 T-34's engines would be damaged, and that would be fairly bad for Bethlemos. He would have to actually sit there and repair every one of these. Looks like he did repair the engine of one of them already. But the Wehrmacht does not have any fuel income. 10 fuel income is just simply virtually nothing. And he really, instead of that command tank, he really needed another Panzer IV and not the command tank. As really his Ostwind is taking the role of that command tank in the sense of taking out troops. And the command tank is just simply inadequate for taking out most tanks. Light tanks, it's certainly just fine. But in terms of these T-34s, these medium tanks, it's just not good enough. Although the aura, of course, the command aura does help reduce the damage, and that is always good, but he needs more than that to penetrate these. He's floating quite a bit of resources and just simply not building any packs. He definitely could have a pack just sitting here, sitting somewhere over here and facing up this way and just waiting for those T-34s. One of them facing in the middle, perhaps anywhere for the most part, would help out. He does have Panzer Grenadiers with those Panzerschrecks, and of course dual Panzerschrecks would be enough to take out T-34s, but the Problem is the range, of course. Now three T-34s on the field here, and where is that fourth one? It is all the way at base being repaired now.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
And right now I'm just absolutely waiting on that Pak-40. He does have another Panzer Grenadier. He's upgrading that Shrek package now. So we will have four Shreks here. And that's actually pretty intimidating for a T-34. T-34s cannot take too many Shreks, of course. And but again, it's going to take more than just 4 Shreks. It could take 4 direct Shrek hits on a T-34, and you could still just back up and get away. So it's going to take more than that. It would probably take 8 maybe to kill a T-34. I'm not really sure. I suppose it would matter if you hit the rear armor too as well. But now command tank here being repaired up. And we have guard rifles out on the field as well. Up front, the Russian owns the majority of the map at the moment. All 3 victory points belong to Bethlemos. 350 to 216, 4 T-34s. This is something you actually don't see every day. I've casted a lot of games, and I just don't see people massing T-34s that much. And I suppose it could be for a reason. Usually you don't get that opportunity to really do so, but these T-34s here will serve him quite well. I think he could actually just push forward now and pretty much take most of the game out. There goes 4 Panzerschrecks there, and nearly destroyed that whole tank. And maybe I was wrong. Maybe it wouldn't take 8. Maybe 6 would finish one off. I think those were a couple lucky hits there, and brought it all the way down like that. So maybe 5 or 6 Shreks would take out a T-34 there. And that T-34 was really on the edge there of death. And now the Panzer IV here is active, and the other command tank all the way over there still. And a Shrek on the ground, 2 Shreks on the ground. And what is going to pick those up? And these conscripts running forward. Are they going to run forward? They're going to throw an anti-tank grenade at that Panzer IV there. Could pick up both of these Shreks too. Is that what's going to happen with these engineers? Looks like he's going to do that. He's going to pick it up with engineers. There's another Shrek there too, but he runs and misses that Shrek, unfortunately. Now a Pak-40. This is way too late for this Pak-40. Way too late. I suppose better late than never, but now he brought it up. Already got hit by that IL-2 run. And again, just way too late. He needed multiple. I would have loved to have seen 3 Pak-40s on the field. If you would have had 3 Pak-40s, these T-34s would have almost no chance anywhere they go. If you had a Pak-40 over here, Pak-40 in the middle, Pak-40 over here, these T-34s would have no way of getting to the German base. They could go all the way around, of course, do a very large flank around the side of the map. But again, easier said than done. And when you do that, it's pretty obvious where you're at. And you have a lot of time to just simply go whoop and turn those Pak-40s, and then you can just simply, triple Pak-40 the T-34s coming around the side. Now another T-34 is being replaced as soon as that one was destroyed. That's sort of like a real, actual historical event. As soon as a T-34 is destroyed, 10 more take their place. But again, you can see the usefulness of this Pak-40 already. After it's been out for 30 seconds, it already took out 1 T-34, although he didn't move that T-34, admittedly. He pretty much really screwed that one up. But that's okay, as he has another T-34 on the way.
We are losing a sector.
And there is a Panzer Shrek sitting there on the ground for the taking. Who's going to take that? And I don't know if anybody notices that, but it's a free Panzer Shrek, and Panzer Shreks are not to be taken lightly. Panzer Shrek, easily the best anti-tank, of course, in the game. Much better than the bazooka, of course. And you definitely don't want to just pass up a free Panzer Shrek. Looks like the engineer's going to pick this up now. He did spot this finally. And there goes engineers with the Shrek. And going to go after the T-34 now. And there goes one Shrek there. Hits it and does a little bit of damage. And now there's a Puma out on the field, and I don't think I can agree with the Puma. The Puma, it does do pretty well against T-34s, considering, but again, 3 packs would have really turned this game around. Would have dramatically changed this game. These T-34s would be getting wrecked, outright wrecked by 3 packs. 3 packs firing and hitting a T-34 at once can either just pretty much just hold one volley shot it, or it would be down to such a low amount that he would be forced to drag it back to his base and sit there and repair it for a good solid couple minutes. And Conscripts now moving forward. Are they going to grab this pack? They do. And could just put it back here and just really set it and aim it back towards the German base right in the middle of the town there. But he may actually get decrewed before he even gets out of there by the Panzer Grenadier and the Grenadier. And Panzer Grenadier now moving forward, going to double hit one of these T-34s. Drops a Panzerschreck again and loses the whole squad there. And not looking too good for our German player here, Havoc. And again, I just cannot recommend. He was floating 900 manpower in, and three pack 40s does seem a little bit ridiculous, but when you are against 4 T-34s, I don't think it is ridiculous at all. And these T-34s would have been toast, gone. Maybe even two pack 40s would have definitely done the trick. Even if they don't kill them, they deter them. And as soon as you take 2 pack 40 shots, you go, oh shit, and then you have to back up your T-34. So it's totally off the map, and you have to repair it. And so it's essentially like you killed it for a little bit. Puma gets destroyed instantly. Again, that's why I didn't really agree with the Puma so much, as the T-34 is way better than a Puma. And again, the Puma has a pretty good weapon. On it, and will do good damage to the T-34, especially if you had a couple Pumas. You could easily take out a T-34, but just one Puma against 4 T-34s, might as well not even bother. And looks like a last-ditch effort to try and take some territory over here from the Germans, but not really going to happen. And now all the way back in his base with the pack here. Finally built another pack, but it's all the way back in base, and the other pack was stolen. And if Havoc happens to watch this particular game, please build more packs. You could have easily have possibly taken the game, or at least put yourself in a much better position. A pack sitting here facing this way would have totally blocked that area, would have totally blocked the middle, and could have totally blocked in that area as well, forcing him to go all the way around the side of the map like this to actually assault or force troops up there. But either way, it was a really good game. I really liked the 4 T-34s. I thought that was pretty unique. I don't really see that all the time. You don't really see people massing T-34s all that much, and I'm not really sure if you want to consider that massing. I suppose 4 T-34s is kind of massing. It's like 40 supply in tanks, but it really worked out well for him. I think he could have played a little bit more aggressive with them. I think he played a little bit too passive with them, because there were points in the game that he could have just straight up destroyed his opponent, and I think he could have won the game probably 5-7 minutes ago if he would have just drove straight into his opponent's base. He could have pretty much destroyed the entire base. But again, playing safe is is what it is. It's the safe way to play, and it ensures your victory a lot of the time. But I hope you guys enjoyed the replay, and I'll see you guys next time.